Right. So what was?
Can I set this up?
Set it up, yeah,
Because
please.
I'm going to let you guys go because
Yeah,
I
go
don't know.
ahead.
I was not anticipating being here today.
Yeah.
And with you two plus Jay, that's like the ultimate baseball crew. But
Yeah.
ESPN, it was Jeff Passan, Cleveland guy, wrote an article on one move that he thought would be the perfect offseason move for each MLB contender. And for the Guardians, he had suggested trading for Cardinals utility infielder Brendan Donovan. I know Brendan Donovan because I have played the video game, but I can't tell you anything in real life about Brendan Donovan. So, Bull, tell us why or why not Brendan Donovan would be a perfect offseason move for the Guardians.
I mean, if that's the biggest move they make, it would not be a perfect move. If it's part of a series of moves, I would like it. I mean, Brendan Donovan is a solid player. He's an everyday player for the Guardians. He's a left-handed bat, which is not ideal because they have so many left-handed bats already. But there's a lot of position versatility. You talked about him being a utility player. I mean, you look at his numbers last year. He had a 775 OPS. His career OPS is 772. Jason, that's like fourth best on the team.
Yeah, you take that and run to the bank.
That's pitiful.
So he's he's not an all-star, but he's an above-average major league player with position versatility. So would I like that? Would I want Brandon Donovan to be on this team? Sure, I like that move. Would I want it? But again, if that's the biggest move they make for a hitter, that's not good enough.
Could he play shortstop?
No, I don't. Well, I can't.
Not every day.
I don't think so.
I don't think you'd want him there.
So if you
every
traded
day.
for Donovan, he's not your everyday shortstop.
No,
that's why I don't understand why I don't get that move. I mean, Bazan is coming if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
Bazan will be.
He can play the outfield though. He's an out.
Donovan.
Yeah,
You really want him playing every day? I don't know.
So with the Cardinals, he's played plenty of outfield. He has played some short, but not a lot. He's played some first. He's played some second. He's played a lot in the outfield. I mean, you could use him in the outfield. He could play anywhere in the outfield. He's played probably every position but catcher and pitcher. But shortstop is the position he's played the least of all the other. He's played plenty at left, right, center, second, first, third. But obviously not going to use him at third. But he would be. He's a lefty, so that's not ideal.
Yeah.
But he could fill I mean, in theory, he could be your center fielder. I don't know how good he is. I'm not sure how good he is defensively in center field, but
I don't know. The perfect offseason move also has to start with, first of all, like, what are you doing with Kwan? Are you trading Kwan? And because I think their perfect offseason move, and again, he's another lefty, but I really like Jarren Duran, and I think he's very available from the Red Sox.
Yeah, I've mentioned Trent Grisham as a possibility.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, he's also a lefty.
Yeah.
But he's a real center fielder.
Yeah.
Well, so is Duran, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Duran, I'm saying that Donovan's not really a center fielder.
I
think Duran's got 3 years of control left, I think.
Well, yeah, right. You have to give up something good to get him.
Yeah, and they do. They've got the assets to go get him.
And he won't get paid a lot. Grisham's going to get a decent amount of money.
Yeah, but how much further are you advancing yourself if you're going to trade Kwan? Like they came pretty close to trading Kwan at the deadline. It won't shock me at all if they trade him this winter. And I've said before on the show, I think Kwan's a little bit overrated in Cleveland. He's a very good player.
Right.
He's a very good player.
If they offered him a 5-year, $75 million extension, would he take it? He's not getting more than that.
I don't know what they've offered him, but clearly they have offered, and he has rejected. So we're at the point now he's down to 2 years, and this is what the Guardians do. It's rinse and repeat.
Right, but the difference is he's a guy you could get at a reasonable rate.
I think
nobody's paying him $100 million.
I agree, but I think your definition of reasonable might differ from the Guardians and from Kwan's own view of himself.
5 for 75. What do you say about that?
I would probably do that, but
if you were who?
If the Guardians, I would do that.
Wouldn't he?
But are you doing a straight 15 per? I would think you'd start at low and then work up.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know that he is interested in doing that.
Then do 15 per. In fact, it might make sense for the Guardians to front load it because they're not paying anybody.
That's true. Now. That's true. Give them more up front.
In fact, I give them more the first 2 years because next year they're not going to play a whole season most likely.
Yeah, and so that may also play into why they don't want any money on the books for 27.
That's just another excuse.
I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing with
Yeah.
you. I'm just saying, I'm from their vantage point. I don't
Yeah.
think they want anything on the books.
Let me tell you something.
Wait, real quick. If a strike does happen, do they still have to pay the players?
No.
No,
So why does it matter if there's money in the books?
because there's
now?
nothing coming in. Well, it depends on if it's a strike or a lockout, and usually it's the owner's lockout.
They're still not getting paid.
But they're not
either
getting
way.
paid. Yeah, they're not getting paid. But all of these teams are taking a very cautious approach.
It's going to be an interesting offseason to see, because there's a lot of big players out there.
I still think that this could be a year where you could sign a guy who would normally get like 4 or 5 years. You might be able to get him for 1 year with him. You might have to overpay him for the one.
Yeah.
But you could get him on a 1 year, $25 million deal.
Pete Alonso.
I think Alonso will get a
He'll get a
multi-year deal.
multi-year, probably.
So you don't
but
think there's any chance he actually ends up here?
No.
I don't think he comes here. I think he'd be a great
Very
fit.
unlikely,
I
even though
think
he'd be an amazing fit.
But also then, I mean, you got Manzardo and Kafis. Are you making Kafis the right fielder?
So
I would rather see him get a shortstop upgrade over what they keep running out there.
but who's the shortstop?
Yeah, I know.
upgrade? I
Bichette.
mean, huh?
Bichette.
Yeah, they're not going to spend that kind of money. He's going to get even more money than Alonso's going to get.
He'll get a multi-year deal.
I'll tell
If
you,
I could get Bichette on a 1 year
You know
deal,
what?
I would do that in a second.
You know what? I got a guy that could be an interesting trade candidate for the Guardians that would fit. C.J. Abrams of the Nationals.
Former top prospect.
Well, he's played well. I mean,
Yeah.
he's been great.
He was part of the Juan Soto deal,
He
wasn't
was. And he's been an all-star.
Is he free agent?
No, it's a trade. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
The Nationals have said the Nationals are rebuilding.
Yeah.
And there's been talk that they're going to trade Abrams and Mackenzie Gore because they'll get hauls from that. Now, you have to give him a lot to get Abrams, but I think he's got 3 years left. He's the perfect guy that they should go after now that I think about this.
Yeah.
Why? For people who aren't as familiar with C.J. Abrams, why does he fit so perfectly into
Well,
what
he's
the
a
Guardians wanna do?
shortstop, and that's what they need more than anything.
That is
else.
what they need more than anything. I'm done with the Rocio Arias.
Yeah. Now, he's
done.
not a great fielder, but he's a shortstop. He's a solid fielder. He's okay.
Lefty or righty?
His 3 full years in the big leagues, he's had a WAR of 3.5, 3.4, 3.4.
That's good.
His OPS 3 years in the big league, 712, 747, 748. Again, not amazing, but he's a shortstop. Home runs, 18, 20, 19. He steals bases. He's had 116 steals over the last 3 years.
I like it.
And he was an all-star in 2024. He had a great season in 24. Last year, a little bit of a step back. Doesn't miss time. He hasn't really had any significant injuries.
He's a lefty too, isn't he?
I think he's a switch hitter. No, you're right. He's a lefty. He's only 20. I think he'll be 25 this season, so he's young. Yeah, he turned 25 last month, and he's not going to be a free agent until he's only going to be. This is his first arbitration year this year.
Wow.
So now the guy's been an all-star. He's been pretty good. He's a shortstop.
It's gonna be a haul
top
to get him,
prospect.
yeah.
You got to give up a lot to get him, but he is a perfect fit for the Guardians.
Yeah.
Perfect fit. And
Is he your leadoff hitter? Or you go Kwan then Abrams?
no, I think you'd go Kwan. I think you'd go. Yeah, you'd probably bat him 2 and hit Jose 3 in a perfect So you can get Abrams. He's not costing you a lot of money. He's just costing you a lot of prospects.
Yeah.
And then sign a slugger. In a perfect world, Pete Alonso, but whatever. Think about how different the lineup would be if you now had Kwan, Abrams, Ramirez, Alonso, Manzardo.
That's a legitimate major league lineup.
Yeah. And then, now your catchers can't hit, but who cares? It's one spot. Maybe you got one other weak spot till hopefully Bazan is ready. I don't know. And you you use DeLauder in left. You use Kafis as or you could put DeLauder in center and you put Kafis in right.
I mean, I don't know.
You probably traded one of them, right?
Yeah, I don't know what value DeLauder has right now because of all of the injuries.
Yeah.
But DeLauder or Kafis are probably on the move if you're making any sort of trade.
Well,
like
in fact,
that.
DeLauder would probably have to be in the deal for Abrams.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you'd probably have to trade DeLauder and, I guess whoever your best infield prospect is.
Brito?
I don't know.
I mean, they got a bunch of guys.
You know what?
They would want pitching. Washington's going to want pitching.
Okay.
I don't know who they're. I don't know if they have a top. Am I missing? I can't really think of a top pitching
pitcher?
prospect
No,
right now.
they're all, everybody's in the big leagues. I mean, at one point it was Espino, who's finally healthy. But
I mean,
he's
they've
not.
drafted a ton of guys. They might have to give up a couple.
Tugboat.
Younger
Tugboat?
guys.
Yeah.
Matt Wilkerson?
Yeah.
Has he made it to AA yet?
Maybe Joey Cantillo's part of the deal. Maybe
AA,
Slade
yeah.
Cicconi's part of the deal. I don't know if they'd want to go ahead and retrade him, but they desperately need a shortstop. He'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But they've got
What
a lot
is-
of work to do, and they have such a low payroll.
Real quick, before we wrap this up, because we got super chats. What
Yeah.
does Brendan Donovan cost? Is he a nothing cost? One prospect?
I don't know what his contract
I don't.
is.
Let me see.
Just that, because that's a passing. The guy he mentioned, I'm just curious what
Yeah.
that kind of value is
Let me
compared to an
see
Abrams.
where his. I mean, you're not going to have to give up a ton. The Cardinals are selling. They're doing a. They're, I believe, going into a total rebuild.
Yeah, they said Arenado's on the market.
Well,
Basically,
nobody
anyone,
wants Arenado.
Well, I'm just saying anyone you
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
from them is
Yeah,
available.
he's. Where's Brendan Donovan's contracts? Okay, so Brendan Donovan has. He is it's his second year of arbitration. He's a free agent in 2. So you'd have him for 2 years.
2 years.
Last year he made 2.85. Had a solid year. Maybe he makes $5 million.
Again,
this year.
I just think you have to know. You have to get clarity on Kwan before you decide what their
Right.
perfect move is or what their best move is this
Right.
offseason, because you might have to be replacing that spot as well.
If I were the Guardians, to me, a great offseason, trade for Brendan Donovan, trade for C.J. Abrams, sign Pete Alonso, re-sign Steven Kwan. We'll be happy if one of those 4 things
Yeah.
happens. It'll be a shock. But that would be, and you would totally look at this team differently next year.
Sure.
Because then you'd start the season with Alonso at first, Donovan at second, Abrams at short, Ramirez at third, Kwan in center, Kwan in left, Kafis in right.
DeLauder in center. Oh, I
No,
know.
he's
DeLauder's
Probably
gone.
trade the Lauder.
Yeah.
So, all right, center field.
Trent Grisham.
No, I'm not going to go that far. I've already gone far enough. Your DH is Manzardo. Center field, whatever. So now your only weak spots are center field and catcher. And then when Bazana is
You move Donovan to center.
in a perfect world, I'd move Kwan to center, and I'd move Donovan to left. I don't know.
That should have
for
happened
sure.
years ago.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened by now. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And then you can move Donovan to the outfield when Bazana's ready to go.
Sounds good.
You know, I mean, what a difference that would be without really affecting your pitching too much. But
No.
don't hold your breath for all that, obviously.